Okay. Well, I was just going to say, you mentioned something which I believe in.
Yeah.
Like what you put out there, you get
Yeah.
back.
Amen.
If you're complaining, you get crap back. And
Oh,
I read this in a really Harv T. Eker book,
yeah.
Secret of the Millionaire Man, but it's so funny. It says, well, if you try not to complain for a week, now you'll still get residue crap because you become a crap magnet when
Crap,
put out negativity, right. So but the lovely thing is, well, you might get a bit of residue crap because crap doesn't travel at the speed of light, it travels at the speed of crap. So don't worry, just keep going.
So give good
That
things
little,
out there, guys. Just positive energy. Just give the positive, and the
yeah.
positive will go
And
back. Yeah.
exactly, another one, another little phrase I really like: what you appreciate appreciates.
Yeah, I love
Right.
that.
So
Oh, that's beautiful.
it's like, if you don't care about money, it goes away. But if you're brilliant, I mean, that's just one,
That's
but
a wonderful,
anything else,
wonderful way to say it. That's the truth. That's the truth. And I love the
yeah,
fact that you have this amazing musical history. Let's recap before we go into what's next. Because you have this
yeah,
amazing musical history in your life. You just decided, the day before your 16th birthday, you're done with school, you're going to be a musician, you're going to go with your friends. And your mom, who's also a legend of note in the movie industry and in the music industry, your mom said, well, if that makes my son happy, let him go. And this journey
yeah.
started, and then you went through the tragedies, of course, that happened. And you got ill, but you decided to flip that script, and you decided, well, whether it's 10% or 40% or a no or a maybe, you are going to make it. And not only did you survive the first time, the second time, you actually took it a step further. This is very innovative because you addressed the growth with music, with frequency. And you actually went
Yeah.
as far as to change the shape of the growth, and then it just dissipated. And here you are today. I mean, writing music, you're going to do a lot of things. Tell us more.
Well, I mean, back to the wobbling thing. What I
Yeah.
realized happened, it just loosened everything up. The
Yes.
brain, it was able to get more comfortable. It's okay, and it really was. I mean, it was amazing. And in fact, I turned into kinetic energy by putting a CD eventually against my ear, then the headphone. So it wasn't pure um, trans like a transforming, but the audio waves were stuffed against the CD. Now some of it obviously came out the little hole. That was the audio, but the
Yes.
most of it was forced through the CD, which made it more pure energy because it was like, it it was
Wow.
amazing. And but that night after I got back after that lovely 2-second pulse I had when I addressed the thing in my head at the hospital, as I mentioned, literally I felt the top half of my brain light up, and
Hmm.
it wasn't like it was energy.
Yes.
It was another cycle of healing from
Mm.
my daughter Natasha, because this little growth was, and then it went, it squeezed out all this beautiful light energy, which was a healing process, and then over the following year, it just disappeared eventually. It took a while, took a year, but I'd had, MRIs and they were getting smaller. And then I had no need for any treatment or anything. So that was amazing. And
Incredible. Incredible.
uh, yeah,
I,
so,
I
oh, yeah, I was going to say, oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, can I just
yeah,
quick?
of
So the
course.
next day, I got home and I'm thinking, oh, so I thought, oh, I'm going to do my CD against my ears and headphone, right? And because I've been so charged up by this energy, it knocked me out for like 15, 20 minutes. And when I woke up, I couldn't move. I was awake. I mean, I was like, I could probably move my eyes, but that's all I could move. And I was thinking, oh my God, I've done it now. I've gone too far. I think I've fused my brain, and I can't. I'm like, oh no, and no one. I couldn't even open my mouth. So no one's going to know. I mean, maybe I probably could have used my eyes, but I was really afraid. I was on my own. I couldn't get to a phone or anything. I wouldn't be able to answer anything. So I didn't. So, but then I remember this this lovely earthing meditation from this lovely
yeah.
Motivational speaker,
Yeah.
and Nurka, her name is, and she's a friend. I don't know her that well, but I mean, whenever we met, we just had instant contact, and so, I was, we became friends. Anyway, so I remembered this meditation, so I had to literally roll myself. It took me 15 minutes to sort of instinct trying to roll my body over.
Yeah.
3-4 times to get on the ground and somehow sit up, and as soon as I'd got my tailbone on the ground and upright, it's a discharging, so I was so charged up. I knew I had to ground myself to dispel, so after about 15-20 minutes I was eventually able to stand up, and then I went outside, and everything was so bright. The colors were so, it really, this, that's why I know it was a healing charge of energy, however you want to talk it. But it was light with very condensed light. It was like, So anyway, that's what I'm going to say that.
I love that. I love that. I am speak to energy. I believe we're all made of energy. And I speak to my good energy, and I speak to my bad energy. And I do the following with my bad energy. If I see something, if there's something coming up against me, or there's a mountain or an obstacle in my way, then I address that thing. I remove that negative energy. And I visualize how to sort it out. And 99% of the time, the good energy wins, because it's all about our thought process.
Absolutely, and sometimes I think you can turn bad energy into good energy. I had a metaphysical experience like years before, well, not years, in 2012.
Yeah.
And this is before, but I came back from this Millionaire Minds, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind free seminar over the weekend, and it was really empowering. I must admit, it was a bit of a marketplace from the second and third day, because everyone was doing presentations, and then they were actually applying what they were teaching us, and they getting everyone to rush to the back and sign up for this and that. We did a little bit. That's what they were teaching us to do, but they were using that technique on. But the first couple of days were amazing. So and I was trading, options. So when I got back, I was so focused and feeling great, and I had a little puff, and then suddenly I experienced like say 1,000 at least little black, probably diamond shapes. I thought they were pentagons, but I've got anyway. And they were they were spinning round like in a bat cave, like this way.
Yeah.
Right. Anti-clockwise.
Yeah.
And they were, I felt they were down really low in my brain, and at first I was like, "What the? What's that? What's this?" And then my first instinct was a little bit of fear, but then I realised no, this energy, because they were spinning around, they're lost, they're confused, they're not bad. So my first instinct was I just addressed them and said, "Go up with the light, go to the top of my head, and you can escape." And as they said that, I felt literally like someone was putting their hand like this, because they were giving a real centrifugal force. So I actually really felt like, it was really tight. And eventually they, got away. And after that, my head felt almost felt like it was half as heavy as it was before.
My goodness. All these anomaly. these synchronicities in your life. You're a special
Yeah.
person, and the universe has a special calling for you. And I know what a part of that calling is because we had that discussion. And he's going to, with Meticulous, write his life story and, just take the stages and talk and use his testimony and change the world. And that is such an honorable thing. And, coming together here and making a difference is really important. So tell us what's up next
Well,
for you. What's your vision?
well, I mean, I'm so happy that we met because I've been wanting to write a book, even if it's just a small first version of a
Yes,
story. It doesn't have to be a novel. We
yes,
just start, but then I can get on the speaking circuit if I've got
yes.
a book.
That's it.
And I want to talk about rock and roll roller coaster. I've had pretty good of one of them,
I like the
and
title.
mixed with and also talk about cancer, talk about grief. In fact, the other way around, talk about grief, which led me to have cancer. But it actually, it was the best thing that's ever happened to me to deal with the grief, because
That's the most important part. Yeah.
when I first had this conversation with Michael Hibbler, at
Yeah.
first, I was so like relieved there was a way out rather than being stuck in England and probably dying. I was able to sob because it'd been 5 years since I'd lost Natasha. So after this call, I was so like, wow. And so I was sobbing for her because I hadn't been able to cry for a few years. Sobbing, tears don't mean anything after a while.
I,
I couldn't, you know what I
yeah.
mean? It's almost, and I couldn't cry. It was just, I'd sobbed so much. It didn't have the same value. It was natural, but then anyway, so the first thing, it was the relief of having someone actually going to help save my life, right?
Yes.
And then after I sobbed for a couple of hours, but the last half an hour I was sobbing with joy because I realized
Wonderful.
finally I could do something because I perceived my tumors, even although they were there and there, I perceived them in my eyes. They were just like big lights, that really were just on all the time, whether I could shut my eyes or not. And Natasha, she had a kick when she fell on the horse. She did have a kick, her helmet was on, but it hit and then pushed her brain to it's like a contrapuntal
Oh,
or something, the word.
yeah.
You get a kick and it pushes your brain forward. So she had like, enlarged cortex and everything, but hers were in the same place that I envisaged mine. So I
Mm.
suddenly thought, wow, spiritually we can get rid of these injuries together. Now that didn't kill her, but
Oh,
that probably knocked her out and was caused
yeah.
swelling. But
Oh,
if they just kept, if she hadn't had a bath, or anything, they would have just kept her under observation and she would have been fine. That was,
yeah.
that was without any doubt. So after 5 years of not being able to do anything, at least I felt spiritually we could do something together,
Yeah.
and that's why I was sobbing with joy. Um, yeah. So
Beautiful,
what
beautiful.
else,
And now you are ready to tell a story. You are ready to tell your
yes.
story, you know, and take it to the stages and change the world and give people hope. Can you imagine? Because that's what happened to my
Yeah.
mom. Can you imagine the people that go, the patients that go to the oncology and they're told, there's nothing they can do for you. You should just go home. Or you only
Yeah.
have
Yeah. Well, that was,
chance to make it.
sorry.
Or, 30, 40%.
Well,
You're going to help so
well,
many people. Yeah.
just like my lung doctor, the one who said don't bother changing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, he actually, and he was like the sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood. He was
Oh,
signing death warrants for everybody.
oh, horrible,
Seriously, I mean,
horrible.
he just wrote people off like me. He wrote me off. He actually said, I said after I was asking him, he just talked at me for like, I asked him 3 times and he just talked over me,
Oh,
because I'd had a biopsy
yeah.
of my
Oh,
lung, and and all I wanted to know was the result before he said anything. He was going blah, 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 blah. And I asked him, he just ignored me. I literally, I mean, I don't know if I would have, but I wanted to kick the desk over, you know, literally.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
what, so eventually I just said, stop. What were the results? And
Yeah.
he said, inconclusive, right?
That
I
means he
said,
doesn't know.
well, yeah, yeah. Well, it was, yeah, which is, you know, it's okay. I mean, that's fair enough. But then I said, what about surgery? And he said, fruitless,
Oh,
fruitless.
death
Yeah,
sentence.
he said, and he carried on to say, well, they'll only grow back and you'll end up chopping half your brain away. And I looked at him right in the eye and said, are you a neurosurgeon? And he went, no. He was a chest doctor.
Oh,
So I basically walked out, and that's when I called Paul Reed Smith in America. I
and you
said,
said,
this, yeah, you know, this, yeah. Well, I said, you know, I'm ill, and nothing. I had no idea his connection. He was just my influential friend in America, and I looked up the survival rate for lung cancer in America. So he was my, you know, dear friend. We'd only met a few times, but we really had a
yeah,
bond.
that's so
And
beautiful.
so, and yeah, and I got him on the phone, and then, boof, you know, he set me up with the chief, the family patient coordinator at Johns Hopkins Sydney Kennel Cancer Centre. You know, look, what a bleeding miracle! And then within a week, I was there for emergency
Absolutely.
brain
It doesn't
surgery.
happen that fast, you know. Sometimes you wait for weeks and months for an appointment. And
Yeah,
I'm just glad
yeah.
that you are
Well,
safe and sound
well,
and that
Paul,
you're healthy and, you know, yeah. So
no,
tell us.
no. I mean, it's taken a while to get, you know, I mean, you know, I've got other things, you know, I put on more weight than I expected, you know, at least I didn't, you know, I didn't wither away.
Yeah.
I, I would, I withered the other direction a bit too much. So that's my goal, is to do more exercise, get out and, you
Yeah.
know, just change my life. But, yeah, and I mean, as Keith Richards once said, I'm glad to be anywhere.
Oh, you're glad to be alive, to be able to do the things that you love.
Exactly.
Exceptional,
Exactly.
and a musician as well,
And
and father.
yeah,
And oh no, I want to
yeah, I've
ask
got my
you.
big,
Yeah.
yeah, go on,
Now I want to
carry
ask
on. Go on.
you, what you know, what's your plan? What's next? What is
Okay,
the
well,
goal?
I'm at stage one of creating this animation
Ah,
inspired by Karina. You know, I mean, I had the
beautiful.
first
Your other daughter.
notion of it when she was born.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, you know, I've done a treatment for it. Um, I'm sort of working with someone, but he's so tied up with all other things. You know, I'm hoping that he'll come round, but you know, it's taking time. But you know, in the meantime, I'm just letting it sit. But I've been playing a little bit with AI, the GHT or something, that
Chat
program,
chat
and I
called,
put the,
it's called
yeah,
Chat
yes,
GBT. Yeah.
yes, thank you. And so I created the first scene. Now my vision for the first scene, because it's about humanized two mice. One's
Yeah.
from a very aristocratic family, and the neighboring farm is Lewis, who's like, you know, he's an inventor, but he's also a farmhand. He's got, you know, visions of being a cowboy and, you know, musician, you know, and but they're like childhood friends. The parents are really nice. They don't care about class. They just want their little daughter to be happy, and they can see. So the first scene is a POV from outer space, going
Yes.
zooming in, zooming in, zooming, right? And eventually these two mice, human mice, they're laying in a cornfield looking up at the stars. And when it gets really focused in, they focus on their eyeballs, and the reflection is the shooting stars they're looking at. And
Wow.
they're like talking about. So yeah, so that's the opening scene. And so I have that. Then I put that, you know, description into this chat GBT, no, GBT.
Yes, ChatGPT.
Yeah, yeah. And suddenly it came up. I mean, I already had the ideas, like, but it came up with, you know, it's pretty obvious if you're saying looking at shooting stars. So they came up with, like, you know, it came up with a whole page and a half of, you know, conversation talking about, you know, the shooting stars. Oh, their dreams. You know, each one of them with possible dreams. And I had that idea, like, well, that's, you know, like Lewis is going, that's your dreams, and she's going, Karina, actually, my daughter's name is going to be the girl, and she's saying, oh, that's your dream, and then they say, oh, look at that one, that's our dream, you know. And it's all this,
Oh,
they're like 7 years old, so they're
I love
like, you
it.
know, got
Already
all
inspiring. Yeah, you inspire even the
and
young ones. Yeah. You know,
oh
I
yeah,
had such a beautiful time with you, and you know, just discussing the life that you've lived up to this point, your morals, your values, the ups and the downs. And I mean, the ups were amazing, but the downs were really down. And here you are, and you're still making it. And you know, my final question to you is, what words of wisdom do you have for someone in the audience?
focus on the positive and try and wake up every day, say the word gratitude. It seems to, for me, it sets your brain in that mode. So, you know, my thoughts go on from that. And the days I forget, if I'm not feeling physically well, it's horrible without that. And I think, I know why. I just have to remember to do that. I mean, that's one thing I would love to share. Also, you know, we all have fear, and it's a, you know, in around grief, around cancer, around what's going to happen next, you know. And there are good reasons to worry about things, but ultimately, you know, as what Mark Twain said, you know, worrying about something is you know, being concerned about something that would probably never happen.
Yeah, that's
You
the
know,
truth.
you can change, your life can change in a day.
Yes. I'm going to be
um
honest with you.
and
Today was a significant day in my life. And it's strange that you mention it because I said so that to someone that I met, and you're correct. It brings me back to something that you said about one choice, one decision. You know, one mindset, that one move that you took, that one action that you took, changed your whole life. It changed the whole trajectory of your life because you decided
yeah,
you're gonna
I
survive.
mean,
And here you are.
exactly. And I would say also, if you've got any ideas that are, you know, that that you're afraid to try out in life,
Yeah.
go for it. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a job and you don't like it, but you've got a great idea, I'm not saying you give up the job, but you certainly, you know, you use every moment of free time to focus on something that would, you know, your dream you have. It may or may not happen, but if you don't do it, you'll never know.
Yeah. That's the truth. That is the truth. If you don't do it, you'll never know. And I wanna add something that I always post, and you'll know this quote. Wayne Gretzky said, "You miss 100% of
yeah.
that you don't take." Wayne Gretzky, the ice hockey player, said, "You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. If you don't try
I'm
something,
sorry.
if you
Yeah,
don't try,
I was hearing you. Yeah.
Wayne
Can you
Gretzky,
just roll back a little bit?
Wayne,
One.
Wayne Gretzky, the ice hockey player, he said,
Yeah.
you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Yes, exactly.
100%.
It's like, I mean, it's like keep trying. It's like, old Robert Bruce, back in Scotland, try again. Because I mean, also look at the history with Edison. He was interviewed about, how did it feel like having so many failures? And he said, no, I looked at it as a 1,000-step process.
That's it. Elon Musk had I don't know how many $1 billion rocket that went up, and the rocket exploded, and he was like, oh, well, we'll just go back and we'll fix it. And I commented, because one of my friends mentioned that in a meeting, and I commented and I said, that's why he's successful, because of his outlook
Yeah.
on life. Other people would have,
Well,
called a meeting with their
yeah.
private bankers and be upset about it, but he was like, oh, well.
Well, what happened? What happened actually? It failed 3 times, and he ran out of money, right? But he said, "I know how to fix it," and so he more or less, bankrupted Tesla. Luckily, it's still going. He used all that money he had and took the biggest gamble ever. But in his mind, he knew how to fix it, and that's what the final. It did work. I think
That's
he had
it.
a recent. But I mean, but you've got to really take risks in life.
I
Say, I wouldn't risk. I mean, it depends, how strongly you believe you can do this, rather than just having a dream. But the minute you give up on something, you've lost the game. So, whatever capacity you follow it,
yeah.
I mean, some people give up because they think, "Oh, I don't," and they listen to the subconscious, your brain going, "You'll never do it. You've already failed every time you tried." Then we've got all these things going on with our brain trying to protect us.
Time.
But we could say, "Thank you for sharing. I'm still going to go for it." And you can help, because the brain is there to protect you. It's not there to, promote you or support you. It's like, "Oh, I don't want to be a it's an ever listening, ever talking, babble noise. And some of it makes sense, but a lot of it is just to stop change, because it likes to keep comfortable. It's the
That's the truth. Oh, and it's been such a wonderful time with you, getting to know you better, hearing your story, all these wise words of wisdom coming to us throughout the session. And I just want to thank you from the Meticulous Moments podcast for taking your time to be a guest. And this is not the end of the road for us. We're still going to do your book and your story, and this is just the beginning. So thank you from me personally. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me, and I really appreciate you. I really enjoyed your story too, and I think there's a lot of crossover, communication with similar and varied, But I'm so glad that David hooked us up, and we're going to help him as well. And I look forward to that too. He's a wonderful person too. Misunderstood a lot.
Shout out to David Peace, our friend, who's also going to be writing with Meticulous his life story and going to bring it to the world. So very excited for these two beautiful gentlemen to be in my Meticulous family, because you're not just a friend now, you're family. And I just pray God's richest blessings over you, and keep moving and shaking the world and making it a better place. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. We'll see each other soon.
Absolutely,
God bless.
absolutely. God bless you, my friend.
My name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're the #1 fastest growing community and tribe of some of the highest level entrepreneurs all around the country and around the world. We're in 36 states across the U.S., in 11 international countries, and over 240 plus members growing every single day. And I'm honored, excited, and I'm glad to say that I'm proud to be the official sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast with Juanita Kapp. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm excited for this journey.
Hey everybody, my name is Patrick Rude. I'm the owner of Rude Financial Services, a proud sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast, hosted and directed by the beautiful, strong, and intelligent Juanita Kapp. I cannot tell you enough about what this woman has done with this podcast and the effect that she has had on me and all of the other sponsors and people that listen. Don't miss it.